The Top Knot Creative Show, the Top Knot Creative Show. Seeking super smart, super talented superheroes. How to be wow over the world and all around. The Top Knot Creative Show, the Top Knot Creative Show.
Hello everyone, this is Schreiter and welcome to the show where we seek out the super smart, super talented, and basically the superheroes who are taking over the world and making it super wow. Today we are talking with Mike Driggers. Mike Driggers provides sales training and motivational products for the direct selling and direct sales industry with an emphasis on home-based business and work-from-home business, network marketing, MLM, and multi-level marketing. Mike is a leader in multi-level marketing, motivational speaking, business development, team building, personal development, and success coaching. Mike is a published author and recognized public motivational speaker and top leader within network marketing industry. He's trained by and worked with and been on stage with some of the most successful and top leaders in multi-level marketing industry. He's worked with, and you'll recognize some of these names, Jeff Olson, Eric Worre, Hubert Humphrey, Kathy Erin, Jeff Miles, Richard Thawly, Blaine Williams, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, John Rohn, Les Brown, and many, many other leaders within the industry. Mike owned and operated a very successful advertising agency called Unleash Media in San Francisco Bay Area in the mid-90s and was voted Entrepreneur of the Year in 2004 by President Bush. He's literally who's who in the home-based business world. We couldn't be more excited to have him on the show with us today. Mike, thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Shantae. It's a great honor and a great pleasure to be here with you and to discuss about one of my favorite topics, and that's the direct sales and multi-level industry.
Now, Mike, you have an extensive career in multi-level marketing, so why don't you take us back to when you discovered network marketing, this industry, and how you got involved?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to do that. You know, as you said, I have an extensive background in this career. I actually started when I was 16, and it was more ignorance on fire. My mom and dad, I had come to them and asked them that I wanted this special bike. We'd moved out from Texas to California, and I wanted this special bike that I was doing. You know, some of the kids were doing tricks on, and I wanted one of those bikes, but it was like $900, almost $1,000, and my family just could not afford it at the time. And they told me basically I was going to have to get a job. And I said, a job? Well, you know, what's that? You know, I'm 16 years old, don't really know anybody, and I wasn't sure what direction I was going to do to earn the money. But my grandfather had been sitting at the dinner table when the conversation was going on, and he says, well, I've got a perfect job for you. And I go, well, what do I got to do? And he says, you have friends? I said, well, I've got some, yeah. And they said, do they have parents? I said, hope so. And he says, well, let's go sell them soap. And I said, okay. So there I went, off running, going up and down the streets, selling S8 soap and brushing my teeth with LOC. And so that's how I started in this career. And again, it was more ignorance. If I had no idea what I was doing, I'd bring back the receipts for the sales, and my grandfather and uncle, they would take those receipts and call the people to come over, and I'd come in from playing during the day, and I'd see all the people I'd sold soap to, and I was like, oh, how nice, everybody's coming over, you know, party. And so that's kind of how I fell into it. And then I hit a very high position in that company, Ruby Direct, and I walked across stage, and there was this standing ovation because of my age at the time, and I said, man, I like this. And so it wasn't till about 1920 when I met some folks that introduced me to two gentlemen in Santa Cruz, and that was Jeff Olson and Eric Worre, and they were in a company at the time called Quorum. And I think that's really where my career started, you know, because once I had joined that company, I was being mentored and trained by them and Kathy and some of the folks to really learn about this industry. And so my career took off, and from there I'd gone into followed Jeff and Eric over to TPN and the company they started, and from there Prepaid Legal, and then I had taken a break. Wasn't much into legal services. I had a very large team, and so I supported what I could, but I started the advertising agency because I really liked marketing speakers, and at the time, because that's what TPN, the People's Network, was. And so I decided I wanted to start an advertising agency, and so I took a break, built that up, was very successful there, but I was missing the industry, because once you're in this industry, and even if you step out, you'll come back because you miss it, and that's exactly what happened. And I sold the company, got back into the industry, and joined forces with a gentleman by the name of Hubert Humphrey, who was another mentor to me. He's a legend in this industry with A.L. Williams, and then World Marketing Alliance, and then WLG was the company that I joined. So my career has gone from there to, I was a diamond in Monavi, and then on to bigger and better things. I've been, just during this time I've been training and providing resources and coaching folks in this industry because of my experience, and especially with new technology. I take old school techniques and meet it with new school technology, and that's kind of what I teach folks on how to build their businesses. So it's been a pretty extensive career.
I'll say. And at what point do you think it was that you transitioned from being mentored to mentoring?
Well, when I started to achieve the ranks and the money that I saw my mentors gaining, and so when I got to the point where I've taken their teachings and and then replicating what they've done, and then and then using it to match my personality. Once I got to that point where I was starting to hit those ranks and make that type of money, instead of tying people into my mentors or the leaders, it was me that became the leader. The one thing I quickly realized that if I wanted to be successful in this industry, I had to become that leader, and the quicker that I did, the better off. And so that shift, because that shift started happening, and I started realizing that if I keep putting people and introducing them to my upline mentors or leaders, that they were always going to listen to them and follow them, and not what I was wanting the group to do or teach the group, which was similar. So I knew real quick that I had to position myself as a leader. So I started diving into what it took to be a leader.
Now, you started developing your own tools. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tell us about that, what that process was like for you.
Well, I what I did was took a lot of the experience and teachings and things that I had and put it in a way that I felt that the average person could really grasp. Direct sales is based on the average person. You want your Aunt Betty, who's the blue hair bingo gal that wants to finds a great product, wants to share it, but doesn't know quite how to go about doing it. And the one thing about this industry is that it's a lot of different skill sets that you have to get to know, from personality types to negotiation skills to leadership. I mean, there's all kinds of skill sets. And so what I did is started taking these and put them into what I would call the average person's language, to where I could help them easily go out there and build teams or accomplish what it is that they wanted to accomplish. So once I started doing that, I could also see that my group started growing a lot quicker because they understood what it would take. I have a training called Compress and Explode, and I teach people how to maximize their efforts in a very short period of time. It's like, and the whole principles around the Compress and Explode, you can put gunpowder on a table and light it and it'll go poof, but you take that same amount of gunpowder, you compact it, and you put a wick to it and you light it, it explodes. Same amount of powder, just a different way of the way it is put together and the way it's lit. So I started taking that type of approach to help folks, and especially in today's world. You've got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, got all these different methods and of building and understanding how to work with those technologies, but using, again, the still old school techniques. A lot of these marketers out there today, they're using the internet to get leads, and they're funneling them in, but as fast as they're coming in, they're going right out. It's like a bucket with a hole in it. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because this industry is built based on relationships, and you've got to build those relationships, and to get to the top positions that you want to achieve, you've got to see yourself as what I would call a leadership manufacturer. You're bringing the raw material through, which is people, and you take them through a process and you develop them into leaders, or you raise them up in the company, and everybody wants to be somebody. And so at the end, when you output, you've output a leader, somebody that's self-sufficient. So whether I'm there or not, they're going to be able to still go out and build and run their own business without having to be tied to another leader. And not that they would stop learning. You always are in personal development, and that's probably the biggest thing that you'll get out of this industry, is that the journey to success is exactly that, the journey of what it takes and who you become during that process.
Love it. No, I love that you take the approach of, everyone wants to be validated and important and a leader. So I come to you, I'm new to maybe the industry, I'm new to working with you. What are the first few things that you are going to be looking at in order to help me kind of grow into that leadership status?
Yeah, one of the first things that I want to know is just kind of who you are, your background, your experiences, your personality type. I want to know more about this person. I want to develop that friendship. I want to know about the family. I want to know about what it is that their goals are. Their what inspires them, what motivates them. This, because of this type of industry, which is this profession. I really love this profession, and a lot of people don't realize that you have to have what I call a 1099 attitude versus the W-2 attitude. And so coming in here, I've got to help shift their mind. I have to help motivate and inspire and encourage and motivate. That's IEM is what I call it: inspire, encourage, and motivate. And so I want to be able to align them and get an understanding of who they are. Then from there, what their skill sets are. Because some people have a hard time talking to people. Sometimes people have a hard time picking up the phone. Other times, they may be more excited about the product, and so how to build something around the product. Others are about the opportunity. So each person that comes to the table has a different mindset, personality type, and the way they want to go about doing their business. But the basic skills are the same once you understand what that is. And so, but just like any others, I want to outline their goals. I want to outline who they know and what it is that they want to accomplish. And then what I do is I take them through a process. Now, part of, like, for example, goals. A lot of people, you sit down and you write out these goals, and they got them thinking about, buying new cars and houses and all this stuff. You know what? That's great, and there will be a time. But when someone's just joining, my first goal is to help them establish their business as quick as possible. So there's 4 things I look at that we want to accomplish in a way for them to track their business. And that is, first, whatever money they've put in, I want to help them gain that back out of their business. That's my very first goal. So whatever their monthly costs are, I want to take care of that. The second is their car payment. If we can accomplish their cost of doing business and their car payment, that we're 33% of the way to success. Mm-hmm. If then not their car payment, if they don't have one, well, insurance. Then the next goal is their mortgage and rent. If we're covering all those costs, now we're 66% of the way there. Then the next one is, are we getting rid of any debt or savings? Are we starting to save? And if we can accomplish that goal in a year, it's a way for you to track how well you're doing. And that's how I work with people, is I set them on that track first. Once they get in and they get around us and the personal development, all the other stuff, the nice homes, the cars, and all that stuff will come if they work hard towards it. But we need to set the basics and to help them have shorter distances to measure. And that's how I sit down with someone. So I get them going, and then do that. We're on, I've got them tied into a coaching call. I've got them tied into, the monthly team call. I'm helping them one-on-ones. One of the things I will not do is I never baby a distributor, which most people do when they come into this industry. They get someone in, the fear of loss of not having somebody join your business. With a lot of people that have no experience, they're not used to posturing, they're not used to, with having the mindset that, if they don't do the business, it's not the end of the world. A lot of these folks that come in, they feel this fear of loss. So when they get somebody in, they start babying them. Oh, you can't get on the conference call. That's okay. Oh, you can't go to the meeting or the training or the convention. Oh, that's okay. So they take the excuses. And one of the things I do with folks is I work with them in a sense that I use filters, and I teach them how to look for filters. And a filter may be, for example, if I have someone that wants to do the business, says they want to do the business, I'll go out and together we'll do a presentation. There's basically 3 presentations that I'm going to do with them to help them. The first one, I'm going to do the presentation and have them watch. The second, we're both going to do the presentation. Then the third is them doing the presentation by themselves while I watch. And then from that point on, the fourth one would be from that point on, them doing the presentations. Now, if somebody doesn't step up or isn't willing to step outside the box, you can quickly use that as a filter to know at what level this person is going to commit to their business. And so I teach, how to look for these filters, how to put these in place, and because you don't want to waste your time with someone that's going to eat up your time. One of my mentors early on said the most valuable thing in life is time. And if you put a monetary value to that, let's say you're worth $10,000 per hour, and I drop let's say just $100,000 in your bank. Every time you waste your time with somebody that you're catering to or babying, I'm going to withdraw $10,000. Mm-hmm. You'll quickly realize that you don't want to be spending a lot of time with people that are not willing to help themselves. So I help folks recognize that, and we use filters to filter through people, and the filters come in through the process.
Now that is a totally different approach from a lot of leaders that I know who do like to jump into the cars, the homes, the jet setting. It's much more practical. So I'm sure that you have a very targeted message, and then that part of that goes into things like duplication. Why don't you
Absolutely.
talk about that?
Yeah, well, that's the key, is that you've got to have a duplicated copy, a perfect copy. It needs to be simple and duplicatable. Mm-hmm. If it's not, and it's too hard for a person, and or someone keeps creating something to add more complexity to it, their business will slow down. And again, the industry will provide what I call the mind expansion or stretching the mind, which is the boats and the cars, and people are going to want that. But when you're focused on that, you don't know how close you are to it. You've got to have some type of measure of success. And so again, I use certain things to help them measure, and I even build the business in 90-day increments, always 90-day increments, because like the shuttle, someone once told me about the shuttle when it takes off. 99% of the time it's off course. That 1%, if they were to stay off course, just that 1% could knock them thousands and thousands of miles away from their destination. So you've got to constantly adjust. Well, it's easy to track your business in 90-day increments and then being duplicatable, doing what works, running a system that works, whatever it is that your company. So what I would tell folks is find out what your upline leaders, what they're doing, attach yourself, learn on how they're doing some of the things, and keep it simple. You've got to be able to pass the baton, like the marathon races. It's easy to pass the baton, but if you don't sit there and change the baton, you don't add bling to it, you don't put some feathers on it, and every baton's the same. You've got to be able to pass that on and teach to teach, and that's where that duplication comes in.
Love it. Now, if someone was looking to work with someone as far as a coach, what are a couple of things that they should be looking for? Things they should be asking, bullet points, a checklist?
Yeah, the couple of things is, their time in the industry is what I would look at, is how long they've been in, what companies they've been with, their success that they've had, how much do they contribute to the industry. The other thing is I would look at, the personality type. Is this a person that I may be able to work with? Because that's very important. Some people can't work with my type of personality type, and that's okay. But you want to be able to establish a long-term relationship with somebody that's going to mentor you. And then, are you coachable? Are you willing to be coachable with this person? You've got to look inside first to know, are you really willing to do what it takes to accomplish whatever the goal is? And you've got to be coachable. If you're not, then you're going to have a struggle. So you've got to look internally. The other thing is look at the way they present themselves. When I was coming up in the industry, I thought it was cool to have all the flashy things and so on. And one of the leaders said, watch how some of the leaders walk into the room. Do you see them being flashy and crazy and all this stuff? You want to emulate what they do. And so when I started looking at that and watching how they act and what they do and how their professionalism, that's part that changed me. Because my personality, I'm very flamboyant, I'm very fun, exciting, flashy, and so I had to adjust and learn and see what they were doing. And so that's one thing. The other thing is how do they feel about personal development? I talked about that the journey to success is exactly that journey. Who you become once you've accomplished whatever level of success, or all types of successes. There's several types. But that personal development is probably the most important part to you, because you've got to be in a position to be worth the value of the money that you're going to earn or the things that you're going to accomplish. And to do that comes with personal development. And I don't care what anybody says, it's out there. It's very critical to your business that you're always growing your mind. You're always feeding your mind. If you're feeding your mind starts creating this environment for you, and your value and who you become increases. And I think that's very critical. So who in that mentor, you want to know if they have a personal development program that they can lead you and help you and teach you. What kind of availability they're going to be. This is another important thing. So a lot of times you get people that are they taking on people to mentor? And if so, what's their availability? If you can't communicate with them on a regular basis, or it's difficult because they're in that building mode, and they're talking to you maybe once or twice a week because they're so busy, then maybe that's not the person that you want to be with. You want someone that's going to be there to help you, guide you, answer your questions, and help you grow within this industry. So those are some of the things that I would look for.
Those are incredibly valuable. Now, if someone would like to work with you specifically, I know you have a website and I know you offer a number of different things, so maybe let our listeners know where they can find you and what those offerings are.
Yeah, I mean, you can do right now. You could go to my blog, Mike Driggers blog, and you can contact me. I do also have a site, MikeDriggers.com, and that's being redeveloped, right now. But Mike Driggers blog, and that's Driggers is my last name, MikeDriggersblog.com, and you can contact me, and I'm more than happy to help and coach. I do have some coaching programs in place. And and part of my job is to help you be successful within your profession in this industry, in whatever company it is that you're with, and teach you about the ways to go out and build your business, and what it takes to do that. So I have different coaching programs in place to help people, and trainings and programs that they can acquire and so on.
And you also have a number of resources on your blog as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have above and beyond that, even beyond, once I am mentoring, I start tying them into things that I'm tied into so that they can start absorbing and learning and becoming a professional in this industry, which I think is very important. A lot of people who come into this industry, they treat it like a hobby. This is a profession, just like accounting, just like a dentist or so. They immerse themselves into the profession, and they pay for the education. They pay for the things to be where they're at to earn the type of money that they desire. And so I immersed everyone into this profession of things to tie in, who to follow, what to I believe that you should be listening to, and trainings, and everything that I touch, I make sure that they're aware and they make the choice of getting that training or not, because I'm constantly educating myself. I'm constantly training, and I want to make sure that they're on the same level that I am.
Wonderful. And I encourage all our listeners to check out MikeDriggersblog.com and MikeDriggers.com, and we will have all of those links on our website. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. I've learned quite a few things, and I'm sure we could keep talking for hours and hours.
Oh, yes. Yes, we would definitely. Thank you, Shante. I appreciate the time and the questions and helping the profession. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. We might have to just keep having you come back on the show and sharing your insights and connecting you to people that would love to be coached by you. So thank you again.
I would love to.
Yeah, wonderful. To our audience, thank you for listening. Now get out there and, as always, build something beautiful. Until next time, take care.